Now let us talk about the most important positive feelings: serenity, patience, solemnity, and joy. Serenity, inner balance, peace of mind, equilibrium, is the basic emotional state of the race of the future, but its particular significance is rarely understood. Today's man is a slave to his feelings and allows them to drag him here and there. Until the soul of man can reach the point of balance, the equilibrating center of consciousness, he is a drifting, purposeless animal, pleased when tenderly stroked, angry and mayhap vicious when the stroke is sharp, companionable, agreeable, selfishly unselfish when amused, flattered or adored, bitter, vengeful, oftentimes cruel when annoyed, ignored or ill-treated. Until the change comes which lifts that animal soul into the environment of the human soul, his opportunities for rapid growth are few. Violent emotions in one direction are swiftly followed by equally violent emotions in another direction. An ecstatic joy is the forerunner of a gaunt spectre of misery. The man becomes incapable of ecstasy. His joys are very tame affairs, and the periods of care, anxiety and fear grow longer and longer. And finally, even sorrow loses its power to crush. Fear is swallowed up in indifference, and real joy never enters his dwelling with the intent to linger for any length of time. As opposed to that, a king of the spirit overcomes the fluctuations of sensations and maintains unassailable calmness of mind. Tranquility is the crown of the spirit. A restless person harms himself and others. Anyone who loses equilibrium and calmness becomes unreceptive to health-giving vibrations and subject to destructive ones. Such a one suffers great torment and becomes a source of infection to others. Life and evolution imply eternal movement. In material life, you should not expect rest, but only a continuous succession of attacks, disturbances, trials, challenges, and upheavals. It is wrong to believe that someday a state of undisturbed rest will arrive. In everyday earthly life, your mental balance is constantly endangered. We saw a sacred place in pure, unspoiled nature, next to which a gravel plant was built. There is no rest amidst the cosmic rotations. The blind and deaf may dream of a rest that does not exist, but the ones who see prefer to endure the storms in order not to go blind. There is no rest as people understand it. One cannot step out of the spiral of impetuous rotation. So how am I to find peace in the midst of omnipresent restlessness? If the external world cannot be put to rest, there is only one way out. Silence must enter your inner being. For beginners, external stillness is needed. Any sound, even the unimportant ones, can shock and cause pain. But for the one who knows, inner stillness is needed. True calmness is gathered from the depths of inner stillness. The ever-changing thoughts and feelings, the stirrings of your personal self, must be subdued and silenced. Peace is within you yourself. If you fail to discover it there, you will not be able to find it anywhere else in the whole wide world. If you do not find peace within yourself, it is useless to look for it elsewhere. A wise man knows how to bring about this inner calmness, even in the midst of the most violent earthly storms. During a thunderstorm, it is advised not to run about nor make abrupt movements. Likewise, a harmonious condition is recommended during earthly storms. So let us stay calm throughout the multifaceted movement of events. Peace of mind is the mental attitude with which you defy the turmoil of the world. People are often confused as to what kind of calmness is possible when the world is in turmoil. But we have in mind a calmness of consciousness, which, if attained, becomes inviolable. People should strive for inner peace, but they must participate in life. In the best testaments it is indicated that one can be at peace even on the battlefield. In beautiful images in the Bhagavad Gita, it is taught how amid the noise of battle one can teach and ascend in spirit. One should preserve calmness of spirit even in the midst of great turmoil and revolt. This is the law of self-perfectment. In the valleys it storms and rages, but on the summit, within you, in your own higher world, there is tranquility. Someone may ask how to endure unrest and agitation, but rest is the peak of unrest. The secret of serenity is external circumstances must not gain power over your inner life. They change, you don't. You remain the same, in joy and sorrow, in happiness and misfortune. A yogi feels the same during want or plenty. The influences of matter, which cause cold and heat, joy and pain, come and go and are not permanent. Bear them patiently, for the wise man, who is not troubled by these influences, because pain and joy are the same to him, takes part in immortality. What exactly do you mean by remaining the same? You are and remain, always and everywhere, an immortal, a disciple of the Brotherhood, or a king of the Spirit, and take a corresponding attitude. Whatever the circumstances are, fate has thrown you into. Be the same in fortune and in misfortune, in success and in failure. It is said about a warrior, he is the same in joy and in sorrow, in victory and in defeat. Your soul rises above the material conditions. Most of all, the mind must be withdrawn from external interests into itself. Let it have confidence in itself, rejoice in itself. Let it respect its own things. Let it retire as far as possible from the things of others and devote itself to itself. Let it not feel losses. Let it interpret kindly even adversities. You free yourself from the slavery of constantly changing emotions. Gain the power to feel unattached to the fruits of your thought or work, to pleasure or pain, gain or loss, victory or defeat. How can I attain this inner quietness? By lying on the sofa? No, it is a mistake to try to find inner balance through inactivity. We must remind those who are lost to inaction that by their way of life they may create an illusion of peace, but their spirit will not be strengthened, nor will it be successful. On the contrary, serenity is the result of hard mental work and severe struggles. Calmness is really a state of intense psychic activity. It should be understood as profound and enlightening work. We call to calmness and at the same time constantly speak of battle. One should understand this struggle as an accumulation of strength through work. It is impossible to intensify energy without labor, but each labor is a battle with chaos. Thus, knowledge of the meaning of battle will bestow calmness. Not quietness is the goal, but balance. One might ask whether rest even exists. Indeed, how is it possible to imagine rest if everything is in motion and exists on account of motion? The very concept of rest was invented by people who wished to flee from existence. They preferred immobility, forgetting that there cannot be a moment without motion. Equilibrium is the concept needed. One should not think about rest, but about how to maintain equilibrium in the midst of the whirlwinds. Calmness means equilibrium of tension. How do I find such equipoise? You create mental balance through the greatest exertion of your spiritual powers. Let us agree on the meaning of the concept of rest. Around this concept, a multitude of false and harmful interpretations have clustered. People have become accustomed to think that rest is inaction. In this way, it has become transformed into psychic enfeeblement. Inaction is most corruptive for psychic energy. Thus, rest is nothing but equilibrium. But equilibrium is a proportionate straining of energy. Only thus is it possible to restore and strengthen one's forces. It is of no consequence whether equilibrium be acquired in desert or city. The main requisite is constant tension. The attitude of a sage who, as the saying goes, rests calmly in himself, is the fruit of a mighty effort that achieves victory in the battle against the attacks of darkness. Be the same in fortune and in misfortune, in success and in failure. On a calm surface, the reflection is clear. Each agitation distorts that clarity. People talk much about the tranquility of wise men, but it is really a great tension, so great that the surface of the energy becomes mirror-like. Thus, calmness must not be taken for inaction. The hard-won and ever-endangered goal is harmony between the materially incarnated and the higher spiritual nature of man, between the earthly and the supermundane spheres. Equilibrium requires mutual tension, for both cups of the scale must bear equal loads. Therefore, both cups, the mundane and the supermundane, should never stand empty.